Hello and welcome to GlitchCube, we're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us once again as we dive further into the world of games. So this week we are going to be going over some of the games that we've been playing through, some things that have definitely caught our attention, right? There's some new titles out there that are pretty interesting, some fun ones. Some new-ish releases, I guess, releases to different platforms that were previously not there, that now people can explore those games from last year on different I don't know. Well, we're talking about quite a bit. It's going to be a little bit all over the place. This is going to be a nice little like grab bag episode of just, everything that is going on right now with us and games and everything like that. But yeah, do you want to start us off? What are you playing, man? What caught your attention right now? Or like what's piquing your interest?
For like I want to say a new game, but it's kind of like because it's new on a new platform. I've been playing Avowed, actually. Yeah. It just got released on the PlayStation, and my buddy and listener, Daxworth, got it for me as a gift. So thank you.
Thanks, and that's awesome.
I know.
That's huge.
And
thanks for being a listener. Appreciate you. Yeah.
That too. Thank you. And I had originally played a little bit of this on Game Pass. When I upgraded my computer, I was like, "This game looks pretty. I want to check it out." Yeah. And basically, I got off the beginning island, went to the first town, and I was like, "This is cool." And then I ended up digging a hole, and I was like, "Okay, I'm done with Game Pass." But now I
got some
playing on the PlayStation.
We can talk about digging the hole. That game.
I love stupid games. So
there's a limit.
Avowed has kind of surprised me in a lot of ways. I remember you spoke really well on it when it first came out. And I just remember when it first came out, it was like you barely saw any praise for it. There were people that were like, "This is fun." But then it was just overcrowded because, when that came out, it was like, the whole culture war thing was blowing up and everyone's like, "Oh, this is woke. Oh, this is lame. Ignore it." And it just got like all this weird, bad press from like, sadly, people with big voices.
But it wasn't even I was kind of much. I don't know. I hate
there
that
really
so
isn't. As I'm playing this, I'm like, there really isn't. Like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, this game is actually really fun. So for people that don't know, imagine, it's kind of like an Elder Scrolls Light. It takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe. It's made by Obsidian, so it does have that kind of, New Vegas kind of feel to it a little bit. And the combat, is great, right? You can do first person, now you can do third person as well. And you can wield guns, do magic. I really like the magic in this game.
The magic system is fantastic. I think that was one of my favorite things. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of like, it reminds me of that Harry Potter game a little bit, but like in first person. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have your grimoire in your one hand and a wand in the other. And it's just, you're casting spells and it just feels so good. Yeah. I'm like, man, I want to have more spells. I want to experience what I can actually do. And the companions are enjoyable, right? Kai is, has Garrus's voice, so it makes me very happy. Yeah. I always loved Garrus and from Mass Effect, and having a companion talk to me, and he's funny. He has the same humor. It's basically as if they just took Garrus and gave him a blue scaly skin.
Yeah, they made him a fish.
That's it. Yeah, it makes me so happy. Like I really love just having him walking around. And I finished the first area. I did all the side quests, did all the bounties. So I'm in the second, big open area. And, the story, it's interesting. It's not the thing that's compelling me to play through it, though. Mm-hmm. I am just really loving the exploration and finding things, because I feel like there's just so many things thrown around where it's like I could be walking 10 steps to my left and I find a bunch of cool stuff, and then I go another 10 steps north and it's like, oh, here's a quest, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of a fun quest.
And there's actually really good weapons and stuff hidden on the map too. And it's not like hidden, but like if you just kind of go off the beaten path and you're like, oh, what's up here? You might find like a shrine. I remember that's how I found like this frost axe that was just badass very early on in the game. It was so cool. But as soon as you pick up the axe, like it unlocks this like battle with like these guardians real quick. And it was a pretty tough battle because I was way too underleveled. I remember that. But the reward was amazing. Like that axe was really cool. Every hit you did, it applied like chill to them. So eventually they would just freeze if you just kind of like do like real quick attacks in succession. So there's like really interesting magic combos in this. And like I said, the combat is really fun. Like the way you're able to mix guns, blades, magic, all that good stuff. So
yeah, I guess I'm just really surprised with how much you can do in this game. And the dialogue choices are actually kind of interesting, because I feel like, you know, being bad in this game, it reminds me more of like Fable, where like they're kind of messed up choices where I could be actually kind of evil. And, you know, I feel like in a lot of games that do this, you just don't get that feeling, where it's more like the so-called evil route is more like you just being kind of a dick. And this game, it's like, oh, no, I can just kill you. You know, it's like, it does something different that I wish more games did it, where it's like, you know what? Screw being safe. Like, just make your person as evil as you want to be. And so far, I feel like you could kind of do that in this game. I'm kind of going like in between. Kind of playing as how I would normally do it, which I normally don't do. Usually in these kind of games, I pick one side where I'm like all good or all bad. But this time I'm like, I feel like I can kind of be different. I made a character that I normally wouldn't do either. I am doing an Orlan, so basically a little furry creature.
That's awesome.
And it's cool because they're short, and your point of view is short. So it almost, awesome. I'll forget about it sometimes, and I'm like, why am I crouching? And then I'll hit the crouch button, and then I'm like, even lower, and I'm like, oh my God, this is
that's
what's
awesome.
going on. But yeah, I think like, you know, anyone out there that's on the fence with this game, like, I mean, if you have Game Pass, try it there, right? Because I mean, that's going to be the cheapest of anything. But this game is surprisingly really good. And I know it's easy for me to say this because no money was used, but it's like, I think this game is worth it, at least like on a sale, right? If you're really on the fence. But if you want a good fantasy game, and the Pillars of Eternity, you know, that lore is already kind of interesting. I played a little bit of the first one, but didn't get super far into it, but I did like the atmosphere of it. And this game, I think it's just taking things really well. You know, I've been kind of wanting a immersive fantasy game, and this is kind of like, I'm really excited for Crimson Desert, which comes out, I think, in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Avowed is my bridge to that. So I'm really excited to experience more of this game, because it's surprisingly kind of big. Like, you look at the world map and you're like, oh, this can't be that big. And then
it just keeps going.
No, they're gigantic. And I think, so the thing that really bothered me when I first played this game is because I looked at the map and I'm like, so there's only one city in this whole world? Like, this sucks. So that was actually, this sounds stupid, that was one of the biggest reasons why I stopped playing it before, because I'm weird. I love towns and cities and games. Like, if your game has lots of cities to explore, I want to play your game, because it's so nice going into a city that someone built, and you're going through their vision versus wandering the wilderness. And, you know, going back to Pokemon from, the prior week, it was like, that's why I like those games, because there's so many towns and they're all kind of unique and different.
Mm-hmm.
And finding out there's more than one city in this game, I'm like, oh, I wish I knew that before. But
like, oh, I get it. It's a game. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So it actually is more to that, because I don't know. It when you do one town, it reminds me of like the Monster Hunter games. I'm like,
oh yeah.
I've always wanted to get into that, but I hate that there's just I have so many problems with Monster Hunter. I don't want to talk about it. But the core thing of this Avowed is I'm enjoying it. It makes me enjoy being a wizard. I think if you want a game where you can actually throw spells and stuff, this might be the best from what I've played for the most part. And
and the companions are actually helpful in this game.
Yes,
Their
I love
abilities
actually giving them the commands.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun where it pauses it and then you can just keep selecting and then they become useful. And yeah, I'm happy I'm playing this, man. Like, now I see what you meant when you were talking all this good stuff about it, because I'm like, it's sad that this game is now kind of getting a lot more praise. I'm noticing where people are like, just, oh, this is actually good.
They fell into the trap of listening to just a review, right?
Yeah.
And just these bad reviews of this thing where the people who just don't know what they're talking about. It's the same thing with movies and all that other stuff. Like, anytime I see a review on a movie, I kind of just I listen to it, but I don't really it doesn't affect if I'm going to watch something or not, right? And I feel like it's the same thing with games, because not every game is going to hit the same for somebody. But one person all it took was one person to say like, oh, woke culture for this game or whatever, right? And then now everybody just kind of like jumps on it, even if they never even touched the game, right? Like, oh, but because like you said, the dialogue was not as bad as people were saying. It's actually pretty interesting. The companions are really well made, in my opinion. And the world is fun. And the fact that like the way the morale system works with you kind of teaching a baby god, right? Like, it's pretty cool. And like, it definitely affects the end game. So I'm really excited to see. But it's one of those games that usually with the morale system, like you said, you pick one or the other, go really good or really bad. But this one really, ended up doing the same thing where I kind of played it as like me, like, because there was definitely situations where it's like, oh, well, this, like, you actually start weighing the decisions, because you start thinking like, oh, well, that baby god's watching me. Like, I want this like baby god to destroy this entire world that I've been exploring in, right? Like, so it is interesting how that works out. So no, I'm really excited that you're playing through it and enjoying it, because I had a lot of fun with this. I feel like people really need to give it a second shot, and hopefully with it now coming to PlayStation, that it's gonna get that second shot that it actually deserves. So yeah, that's a fun one, man. I'm really digging it. But yeah.
What have you been playing?
Oh man. So I've been, I'm trying to keep up with our nice little book club game, because I'm going to be gone for a little bit, right? Because yeah, I know, right? So I was checking that one out for a little bit, and I just, as a little teaser, this is not the Resident Evil game I thought it was going to be. Like, I am just straight up running, clotheslining zombies and kicking shit in the face. Like, like, I didn't even fire a bullet yet. It's just, you can even put on like infinite ammo. So you just, basically what it means is that you can carry infinite ammo. But like, I went through a whole stage without firing my gun once. I just ran through and just beat the shit out of everyone with Leon. Like, I was just running up and kicking people in the chest and stomping them when they fell on the ground. Like, it's action. Like, it's pretty funny. So that one's been pretty fun, honestly. But one of the big ones that I've been going back to now, I right now I'm trying to save some money going on a pretty big trip, but I do want to check out Slay the Spire 2. So I was revisiting Slay the Spire, the first one. I liked it. I didn't play a lot of it, but it's one of those games that has definitely always been on my radar, and it's definitely one that I know I would love. And obviously it gets a lot of love out there. We don't need to like sing praises and tell everyone to try this game, because it kind of speaks for itself, right? Especially with the fact that how many people have mimicked what Slay the Spire did with their deck building games. But going back and revisiting it, it is a really fun game. And Slay the Spire 2 basically looks like it builds on everything that was really great about Slay the Spire. It kind of just like upgrades the art, doesn't really change much about it, right? So it still has that same feel and everything, but it adds in so much more. And I think one of the biggest things that makes it that much more interesting is the co-op mode that it added. So Slay the Spire 2 added in a 4-player co-op where you and 3 of your buddies can go through these dungeons together, and you all progress, right? So I'd say you have someone that's been playing for a little while. Well, all their characters are unlocked and they can play whatever they want, right? So like everyone still gets to play their own game, unlock their own stuff. And like I like that aspect a lot. I think it's really, really cool because Slay the Spire is such a solo experience, right? So the fact that this is now being made into like a co-op experience, it is really interesting. So, and I think the innovations that Slay the Spire first made, it did it again. Because now I would not be surprised if I don't see a bunch of roguelike deck builders that have co-op now as a main feature. Because it works and it looks like a lot of fun. Because you can just balance things off of each other. You have 4 decks to kind of pick from. You can talk with your buddies and set things up, right? Like you can stack different status effects up, and it just keeps going based off of everybody. So like I don't know, there's a nice little synergy there with this Slay the Spire game. So I'm kind of excited to explore more of it and just kind of maybe while we're on our little road trip here over the next couple weeks, I'll definitely probably just be playing that in the car, just to get some some game time in and just kind of enjoying it. But yeah, that's kind of one of the big ones outside of the little book club game that I've been playing. So yeah, it's fun.
Nice. I really loved the first Slay the Spire a lot. And I remember when they were showing this off for the sequel, I was like, why is it like the same heroes? Like that was kind of surprising to me that they would keep the same heroes. Because in a lot of ways you look at this and it doesn't look that much different from the first game.
Yeah.
But then you start looking into it more and you're like, okay, there are a lot more additions to it. And I think the co-op feature is probably the biggest feature because, I don't know, I think that would actually be really fun to do. Slay the Spire is one of the few card games that do this where, like, I'll actually get into it. For some reason, a lot of deck builders, like you said, there were so many copies and so many other games doing this style, and I played a good chunk of them, and it made me really dislike that genre. But Slay the Spire stands out as like, okay, like it's a little different. And I honestly forgot this came out. So I'm going to have to check it out. I'm like looking at the Steam page. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so many people playing it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how many people are going all out on this one right now.
Today's peak is 568,000 people. That's crazy, dude.
It's popular, man. It's up there. Like, I'm not surprised, honestly.
Bank.
Yeah. They've done a great job. Because it runs really smooth. And the co-op experience, like I said, from what I've seen, looks pretty phenomenal. And it's just allowing for different types of synergies, too. I mean, that's one of the best parts about deck builders is finding cards that make sense, finding that synergy to get a really good run. But now you're able to try and synergize with other characters, right? And other like different kinds of decks. So you have like the silent and like trying to merge or like set up combos, right? And I don't know, there's something really, really cool about that. So I'm really excited about that one. But another one that I'm really stoked for that's coming out really, really soon. It comes out in April. It is Mouse PI for Hire. That game looks so great. Have you seen Mouse PI for Hire? I hope you have. I hope you have, man.
I have. I saw it a few years ago, actually.
Yeah, it's finally coming out in April. Like that is the official release date, and I think April 11th or something like that. And I'm so ready for this game. Like, I love this art style so much. It just looks like a blast. And because I loved Cuphead, I loved everything about that. So being able to live in like another cartoony world is, I'm so stoked, man. It looks so good. I can't wait.
I'm glad this game is like finally coming out. Because I remember it must have been like 2 years ago, maybe 3, that I saw like the initial like little teaser.
Right.
And I was like, man, this looks really good. And then you look at how it looks now, and I'm like, oh my God, they did a lot of work to it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the original like trailer like was very basic. Like it looked nice, but now it's got such a style to it, and I don't know. I love it. Like you said, I'm a sucker for that Cuphead kind of look, and
Right.
this does it perfectly. And I've been kind of wanting a game that almost looks like a boomer shooter, kind of, and this kind of looks like it a little bit. So I'm stoked, dude. I'm glad you reminded me because I totally forgot about this game.
Yeah, and I think the demo should be coming out pretty soon here, is from what I'm seeing. So the planned release is April 16th, and people are saying that the demo should be coming out in the next few days. So that's going to be really cool. So keep your eyes out on that one. Check your Steam pages, right? Wishlist this thing, check it out. Because I think that's going to be a lot of fun to kind of browse through. But anyway, anything else that you've been playing through that's been catching your attention lately?
So going back a little old school with it, I've been playing this game, God, probably the past year or so. Kind of like, for a minute there, was kind of every week I would play like 2 hours of it, maybe, if I had free time. And I finally sat down and was like, I'm just going to binge it and beat it. The game is Breath of Fire 4.
Nice.
This is,
you've been talking about that one for a minute, so yeah.
I know. I feel like there'd be some weeks where I talk about it and I'm like, did I ever have a deep dive talk on it, or did I just mention I'm still playing it? But I finally finished it. Year later. Yeah, I look at my playtime and it's like, I don't know, like 45 hours. So it's like, okay, like I spent very little time each week playing this, but this is a, original PlayStation RPG. Came out kind of late in its life. It came out, I think, like 2000 or so, 2001. I think it's 2000 because it came out right around the time the PlayStation 2 came out. And I remember it because I couldn't afford a PlayStation 2 when it first came out, and you couldn't find it anywhere.
Right.
So, but little do people seem to remember is that during that window of the PlayStation 2 launch, for the PlayStation was like one of the biggest banging years for, JRPGs especially, right? You had Final Fantasy 9, you had Breath of Fire 4, you had Valkyrie Profile, you had, Dragon Warrior 7 eventually, like a few months later. You had like all these big name RPGs just coming out. And during that time, obviously I fell into Final Fantasy 9 because who wouldn't?
Well,
but I remember always
9,
seeing,
come on, yeah.
Exactly. One of the best. And Breath of Fire 4, I remember always seeing it and thinking, I kind of want to play it. And that's because I really loved Breath of Fire 3 a lot. I still own my old copy from when I was a kid. And, Breath of Fire 3 had some really dark elements to it that you wouldn't really expect in it because it doesn't look like that dark of a game. But that game had beautiful sprite work. And why am I talking about 3 when I've been playing 4? Well, it's because I feel like it's easy to kind of compare the two together. And, going into 4, you look at the visuals, right? You look at the sprites and the look of it, and you're like, man, that's a beautiful game. And it is. It's interesting because they really started experimenting more with the 3D aspects to it. So
Right.
I love those kind of chunky looks to it. I know some people don't. So in this game, right, let's give a little synopsis of it. All the Breath of Fires, you're always playing kind of the same few characters, right? There's always Ryu, there's Nina, and then there's usually a few others. But in this game,
do the stories connect? I know it's like the same characters, but that was always my question.
No,
they don't, right? So it's always a new story, but it's
don't.
like similar characters.
Supposedly there's some kind of connection between, I don't know if it's 1 and 3, but like no, you don't have to play them. It'd be like some kind of like, I think it's like one of the small character or one of the party members you get, I think in 1 and 2, like makes a joke about something that happened in the first one. But no, you don't need to play them. But my history with it is I've played 1, 3, and 4. I really want to play 2 because I've heard really good things about it. And I've played a little bit of 5, which is a totally different game. And I do want to actually do a retrospective on it because it's a very hated game. Many people say it's one of the worst games on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, wow.
Well, here's the thing is because that game is not an RPG, it's a roguelike. And it punishes you for using your power of turning into a dragon, or if you do it too much, the game ends. So it changed genres, and people ultimately hated it. But I think it sounds kind of freaking cool. So I want to check that out at some point.
I'm curious at how like punishing it is. Right? It's another one of those things that people say in Avowed, right, with like negative reviews. But is it really that punishing, or is it just trying to make it where it's trying to make you think of a different way of tackling the situation? Right?
I think it's just because it was a totally different genre that people got mad about that.
Right.
So I kind of want to go and debunk it, and see how it actually is. But so with 4, it follows where it starts off where you're Nina and Cray, which is her like bodyguard guard, the Crash Sand Flyer. And long story short, they run into Ryu, which is always the blue-haired main character in these games. And in all of these games, you're able to turn into a dragon. Now, how you do it has kind of changed from game to game. I really love 3s because you did like gene splicing, so you would kind of get like a random dragon unless you knew the combinations. But what was cool is that you would actually change your look and it would stay like that on the screen. In 4, when you change into a dragon, you're more humanoid. And then when you use your power, it turns into like a 3D version of it, right? Trying to show off that 3D power because it was the new thing. And it's a lot more simplified. Like, I feel like a lot of things in 4 are simplified versions of what was in 3. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. I like it. I think a lot of things were done very well in 4. But basically, you're Ryu, and you're a dragon. And if you look at the cover, there's 2 different people that kind of show off. There's this other guy called Fu Lu. And he is an old emperor god. And he's also a dragon kind. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to go to his old empire to kind of destroy the world. And so you're Ryu. And apparently the only person that can really beat Fu Lu is Ryu because he's the other half of this dragon form. So because they're trying to meet with each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But so this whole game is Ryu trying to get to Fu Lu, and then when you're playing as Fu Lu, you're kind of just making your way to the Empire. So it's kind of cool that you're playing it from the villain's perspective as well.
Yeah, that's neat.
But the game is really interesting. I've been wanting to play it for so long, and I feel like my expectations were met. They weren't really surpassed, but they weren't, they didn't dip into the negative. Like, I thought it was a fun, enjoyable game. It did the thing I love where all party members are on the screen, kind of. They're so you have 3 in the front and 3 in the back, and you can easily swap them out, switch them out if one faints. And it was a really fun system to play. The story is, it has its ups and downs. I think it's a good story, but it's not as it's hard because I felt like 3 had one really compelling part that I would want to mention, but it'd be a spoiler for people that got really into it. But it had a kind of a dark realization that turned good. This game, it's more like we're just trying to save the world and fight like a god kind of thing. But the small stories leading up to it were interesting. And like Urshan's a really cool character. It's like a sentient robot. And
the trash can, the inspiration for Kingdoms of the Dump.
I know, seriously, it looks just like it. This game, all the Breath of Fires have had pretty decent fishing. I know this is random to talk about, but Threes is really enjoyable. I feel like it's kind of similar to Stardew, where you have a bar and you're kind of just trying to keep it in a certain space the whole time as it lowers. Well, with 4, what's interesting is you can actually use a real fishing rod controller.
Oh, really?
And I tested that out, actually, because I randomly have one of those. So it surprisingly works really well.
Wait, do you have real bass fishing? I gotta ask, tangent, but
I do not, but I have played it.
Oh gosh, I miss that game so much.
Dude, fishing games are fun. I genuinely like them. I don't go out of my way to play them. I really been wanting to get into the River King series because it's like Harvest Moon but fishing.
There's that new one. There's that one on Steam. It's like a free to play Fishing Planet, I think, that I almost downloaded the other day.
Planet. Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
That one looks visually, it looks phenomenal. Like, it is the most like realistic looking fishing game I've seen in a while, but it looks awesome, and it's a free to play. So I might have to download that. Yeah,
I might have to check that out. But yeah, Breath of Fire 4 is enjoyable. I think like anyone out there that kind of wants to get in, like has maybe doubts on this franchise, or like, should I play it when there's so many other good RPGs out there? Like, if you have some of the bigger, more famous RPGs that you haven't played, I'd say maybe play them first. If you're wanting to dive into the Breath of Fire games as a whole, I think this might be a good start. Just because Breath of Fire 1 is kind of old, so it's very like basic.
Right.
Breath of Fire 3, I think 3 is still my favorite of the Breath of Fires, just because it's like you start off as a kid and then you become an adult and you learn about the world, your role in it, and it's like a very deep story if you get into it. 4 is more like I can cruise along this game and not have to pay too much attention to it, but the gameplay loop is enjoyable.
Right.
So, I'm happy I finished it. This is another one on my list that I've been wanting to beat for the year, and just in general, I've always wanted to finish this game. So I think next I want to dive into Breath of Fire 2 at some point. I've still got a couple games I'm playing right now that I'm going through, but I love it. I want to play all these RPGs I've kind of like shoved off for a long time. And I feel like for the original PlayStation, I'm reaching the point of playing almost all the ones I wanted to play. Like, I still need to do Vagrant Story, and there's a couple others.
That's our White Whale game, man. I played
think that
8 hours of Vagrant Story, and then for some reason I stopped. I forgot what else I felt like we had to play for some episode, and I just ended up stopping.
That's how it was for me. I think I was like 3 or 4 hours in, and like, I know it's on both our lists, and I'm like, maybe we need to make that a book club game just to kind of get us through it. But I don't know. I still think, like that generation of RPGs was just peak. I do think the PlayStation 2 RPGs, nowadays, I think they're ultimately better and more friendly in a lot of ways, because it's just the games play better, and it's just, I feel like they took everything that worked from the original PlayStation generation and made it better. But the sprite work and some of these stories in these older ones are just, I don't know, top notch.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And Breath of Fire 4 is definitely one of those that like I've been wanting to check out myself. I played through it for a little bit. I like the sprite art a lot. I think it looks really awesome. So yeah, it's another one of the, there's too many like series of games where it's like, oh man, these all look great, right? And it's hard to keep up, right? It's tough, but we'll get there. I definitely think that we need to make like Vagrant Story a book club game one of these days, because otherwise we're just going to keep talking about it. We're not going to get it out of our system. It's like Shadow of the Colossus again. We ran Shadow of the Colossus for like over 100 episodes. Now we got to do Vagrant Story and get rid of that one. Yeah.
I know.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little conversation here. Nice little grab bag, a little bit of everything this week. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week with some more games and all that good stuff. But until then, bye for now.